if you do not have your business plan open, Robin sent that, I believe, yesterday in her email prefacing this. So I think it's best practice to have that open while we're going through the meeting. But if you don't have that or can't print it right now, then just feel free to watch the screen. There's also two spreadsheet worksheets that are pretty much the most important part of this whole meeting today that we will be sharing in the recap. But they kind of take everything in your business plan and convert it into actions, which is something that has really been the theme of November and December. Craig Benson, who's on this call with us, he's done a few classes that kind of are going to, this is going to be a repeating of, but it kind of ties everything together today. So thank you everyone for joining. Today we're going to be talking about our 2021 business planning guide. This is something that is for you. And your business, it's to help you succeed in your business. And the reason I say it that way is your business plan is going to look very different from my business plan. It's going to be very different from what Craig's business plan looks like and Ashley's business plan and so on, right? So this is for you to fill out. You should not be filling this out based off of, what other people are posting on Facebook about their goals. This is for you and your business, and this is how you want to build your business. So just kind of keep that in mind as we go through this. I'm not going to be asking anyone for examples of, hey, what's your goal this year? I think that's really for you, and then for you to bring to maybe an accountability partner, whoever that may be. But that's just something I wanted to say is don't, this time of year, it's really easy to be influenced by everyone posting all these goals on Facebook, and just take a step back and think about what you want for your life and what you want your business to look like. And that's how I advise you to fill this out. So today we're going to be talking about best practices to build a sustainable, profitable real estate business, defining your 2021 business objectives by looking back on 2020, a transparent view of expenses, making 2021 your best year, follow-up and accountability to fulfill your vision. I feel like past meetings I've done, it's not the best when I just read. So I've been through this and I want to read through some of my favorite parts, but I encourage everybody after the meeting to go through and really take a deeper dive in this. But I want to read some of the stuff and then get to the meat. So as we look into a new year, we know that we have survived one of the most challenging times in history. Our industry has always been ever changing and evolving, yet 2020 has provided a plethora of opportunity to look at our business through a different lens, do business differently, better, and more efficiently and professionally than ever before. There has never been a time in the history of this industry, more critical to have a clear vision of what must be done to experience the success you deserve. As an agent, you are a business owner who is responsible for building a sustainable and profitable business. The first step in preparing for amazing results in 2020 is creating a plan of action. We know it is estimated that less than 10% of real estate agents prepare a written business plan. We have witnessed the amazing results of those who create and use business plans and set goals, et cetera, et cetera. This is pointing out how important it is to make a business plan. But I like that first paragraph, kind of sets the scene, especially after such a crazy year. I'm not going to read this right page. It talks about the definition of a goal and a bunch of Phil Collins stuff.
I think this is a really important meeting just because 2020 changed so many people's priorities. Like, I know Devin Clapp and I were talking about how she killed it last year. She sold so many homes, and we were talking about her plans for this year and her goals. And she was like, well, I was thinking about maybe trying to do double that. And I was like, okay, well, does that leave time for you to go look for rocks with your family at the beach? Does that give you time to sit and chat with your clients? And she realized she could do 50% of what she did this year on top of last year, but she didn't want to do double.
Yeah, absolutely. Create your goals based off of what you want your life to look like, not just the income you want. This is important. The objective of a goal, a specific result that a person or system aims to achieve within a time frame and with available resources. So just to really quickly explain that, we've talked about this a lot in November and December, but you want to make sure a goal is a few different things. It has to be achievable, and it has to be achievable. It has to be specific with a clear result, right? You can't say, I want to do more business, right? You have to say, I want to do X amount of business. And then it has to be by a certain timeline. Those are the three things. If any of those three things aren't included in your goal, then your goal just becomes a wish. And that also sounds very Phil Collins or whatever you want to say.
A wish is a heart, or a dream is a wish your heart makes. Cinderella.
Perfect. We're not going to talk so much about the family, spiritual, and health goals, but I always encourage people that, your business is just one part of your life. And we all have, I mean, honestly, why do we have our business and career goals? It's to progress further our family lives, our spiritual, our personal development, our health, etc. Right? So if you are succeeding in your business at the expense of your family, your health, etc., what good is that? So I'm not going to talk too much about that, but it's a good reminder. Why most people do not set goals: fear of failure, unsure of what you want, lack of motivation. Okay, we're going to get past those fears. Okay, this is good. 2021 best practices: design a plan of action that works for you. Review your previous year's goals and set new goals this year. Review the previous year business goals and analyze the previous year's business. Include all components from sources of business to average days on market and listing to sale ratios. If you are newer to the business, then you can skip that portion. But and if you didn't track we're going to get into this in a little bit. But if you didn't track everything last year, now is the time to go back and look at last year and kind of retroactively track it, if that makes sense. Estimate the number of transactions, listings, and sales needed to reach your goals. Consistently prospect. Establish a minimum number of prospecting contacts. If you're new, 95% of your time should be spent finding new business, right? Because if you're new and you don't have any business, you don't have a bunch of transactions that you're working through. So you can spend the vast majority of your time planting seeds because there's nothing to harvest. Create a monthly marketing plan, budget, and schedule. Calculate the cost for specific marketing touches you select. Measure and track your results. Create a customizable spreadsheet to track your escrows, listings, closings, commissions, and related expenses. I have spreadsheets like that. If anybody would like to see them, please email me personally. Create a daily schedule. Categorize your daily tasks by the following: TPIN, total hours worked, productive, anytime that you are face-to-face in a selling situation with a client, indirectly productive, any activity that could result to a face-to-face selling situation with a client. That's like all forms of prospecting. And then non-productive time, that's everything else: administrative, paperwork, training, sending those Form 40s to me for signing and then saying, Isaac, did you sign it yet? That's the non-productive. But the interesting point that they don't make here, but I like to point out, is the in this is, oddly enough, the thing that we prioritize the most, because it's easy to do lists, check it off the list things. I encourage you guys to consider prioritizing the I and the P first, because the N's going to get done, right? You're going to do your paperwork. You're going to write the offer when it has to be written. These things are the things that no one's telling you have to do, right? No one's telling you have to prospect. And if you don't prospect, there's no one who's going to be saying, hey, why didn't you prospect today? So just something to think about, that I've talked to Andrew and Robin about this, but there's a metric that I've seen that's it's the important versus urgent metric. And the point of it is, we all focus on the urgent things, and the important things that aren't urgent, they just never get done. And so that's a little off topic, but just something to think about when you're looking at your day. Okay, so 2020, a year in review. This is a tab that you guys will fill out on your own time. So you guys can do this now as we talk, but just to show you how you want to fill this out. Earnings is the total that you netted, if that makes sense, not like after your expenses to the firm. You still hear me, Robin? It said I had been signed out.
No, I can still hear you.
That's weird. Okay. Okay, well, I'm going to keep going. Total closed transactions, that's self-explanatory. This is going to be a little harder to perhaps remember, so do your best if you weren't tracking it all year, but how many listing appointments did you have? How many listings did you take? And how many listings did you sell? That's good because it tells you what your percentage was. And be really honest with yourself. You don't have to share this with anybody, but this is the time to be really honest. If you're, you know, if this number is 2 and this number is 4, what does that tell us? And we're going to get into this a little more later, but it says, you know, maybe we have to work on our listing appointments because we missed out on 2 listings. Buyer appointments, buyers taken, buyers sold, same thing. What was my goal? That's your net, or however you set your goal. Did I achieve my goal? Yes or no? What did I do well in 2020? This is important to write down, to go through the motions and fill out this whole thing, even if you didn't have a goal, but at least do this reflection portion here. And the reason is, when you guys are done with this, I highly encourage you to scan it and save it and reflect back on it throughout the year, especially the stuff that we're going to get to in a minute, but then also reflect on this next year when you're filling out your next year goals and see how far you've come, right? 2020 estimated costs, investments of operations. This might not be big enough. You might need a spreadsheet for this, but this is a place where you're going to put your expenses for the year. Also, if you are already tracking your expenses throughout the year, which I really encourage you to do, at least starting in 2021, you can just print out a profit and loss statement on your QuickBooks or whatever you use. But this is just what are all the expenses that you had, your Northwest MLS fees, your $100 tech fee through us, your Department of Licensing, E&O, L&I, all that fun stuff. Okay, so where did my business come from in 2020? So this is a spreadsheet I was telling you about, so I'm going to switch over to that. Okay, spreadsheets come really naturally to me. So I'm going to go through this. And if you need me to slow down, let me know. Or if you need me to go through this one-on-one with you, let me know and we can schedule a meeting. But I'll try and be really, really clear. I pre-filled out a lot of this, so we're not like taking a ton of time. But start by so you want to fill out the gray boxes. So you start by filling out what was your average sale price. That's obviously really easy. Just take the total amount of sales you had divided by the total the total amount of sales price you had divided by the transactions you had. And what was your average commission? That can be roughly, which produces your average gross commission income. Okay, so you fill out that first. And then from here, you start, again, you don't fill out these, and if you try to, it'll say you can't because it's a locked cell. So you're only going to fill out the gray ones. Okay, and so this is saying listings, sold, buyers, closed. Okay, and so you're just going to fill this out. And this is, again, for 2020. This is what you did in 2020. So I just did these as total examples. I had one, this isn't true, but again, I had one listing from a past client that sold and one buyer from a past client that sold, which equals a total of this, roughly. Again, that's using the average. Cost of securing the business. This is where you're going to put, like, how much money did I put into acquiring that lead? Don't get hung up on this. If this is starting to overwhelm you, you're like, oh my gosh, I can't figure this all out. This is not meant to be a perfect statement that you give to your CPA to do your taxes, right? This is meant to be to give you a snapshot of how you did in 2020. Okay, so don't stress over it too much. If you don't know exactly how much you spent, or if you don't think you spent much, just whatever, put a number in that you think is probably pretty close. Does that make sense? Anyways, just go down the line, add every single one that is applicable to you, sign calls, add calls, and there's other, you can add things there, whatever you want it to be. So in this hypothetical example, I had 12 total transactions. This was my commissions earned minus my total expenses equals, this was my net income. Okay, so again, this is all white. So this is the previous cell. So if you guys, I'm not sure if you guys can see this, but it has instructions here. But this is the first snapshot that you fill out. Then you take out the potential. This one's kind of hard. If this will probably be uncomfortable to fill out this one, but try and be really honest with yourself. So how many past clients did you see, if you've been in the business a while, who bought or sold a home last year? If it's 0, that's great. But if you have one, mark it down here. How many friends or family members or whatever did you see posts on Facebook that they bought a home this year and they didn't use you? Put that here, right? So 2, whatever. I'm just using random numbers. And then go on. and try and be just as honest as possible. Maybe you had an expired listing that you went on the listing appointment and you just know that you did a poor job and he was listed 2 weeks later with somebody else. Put that one here, right? This is where, again, you're just being as honest as possible. Okay. Lastly, you go to summary, and there's nothing you fill out. So this is saying the snapshot was telling us what we did earn last year. The summary is telling us what we could have earned last year. And again, this is all hypothetical, but the point of this is to not tear you down. It's to pump you up. It's to say, this is how much money I could have made just by being a little bit better. It's not even like these aren't even opportunities I didn't have. There are opportunities I had that I didn't get. And so this is meant, again, not to be like you suck. This is meant to be this is exciting. Like, you could do this next year just by doing the same thing, just a little bit better, right? Okay, so that's the purpose of that spreadsheet. I'm going to share that spreadsheet. Again, spreadsheets are easy for me. So if you have questions about how to fill that out or anything, just let me know. And obviously everything's confidential and zero judgment. So don't hesitate to talk to me about these. This is just telling you how to fill that out, which we already talked about. But this last portion of page 10, if I could have done one thing differently, it would have been. And again, even if you don't know what this is, even if you're not sure, just write something down. This will be good to see how you progress each year and see what you can learn from your past self. Biggest lessons learned, same thing. Okay, now we're getting to the fun part, 2021 goals. Notice that we started with income here. Not everybody. Most real estate agents, I say, hey, what's your goal? And they say 12, or they say 24, or they say 18. And it's really arbitrary. It's based off of the months of the year. Which, I mean, we're doing 2021 goals, so it is based off of year, but it doesn't make sense. Why are we basing our goals based off of our the amount of transactions we want to do? If you've got $4 million transactions or 6 $250,000 transactions, which would you rather do, right? So just wanted to remind you, that's why we're starting with the income. So you start by what is the income you want. Fallout rate is a percentage based off of actually, I think I did that in the wrong order. Yeah, I'm sorry. So income, you got average sales price, and that's just an estimate. You don't have to be exact on that. In Pierce County, we're probably around 425, give or take, but depends on where you are. Number of transactions closed, that'll be a formula. So if you're, I did this wrong way, guys. There's a spreadsheet for this. I knew I was doing something wrong. Okay.
Isaac, would you mind muting Anthony's mic just because I hear a little bit of feedback?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
Oh, Anthony. Yeah, you should.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Awesome.
You get it?
I can't do it on my side, but I know you can, and I think he turned it off, so we're good.
Perfect. Okay, perfect. Sorry, so there's a spreadsheet for this, so you don't have to do all the math yourself. Okay, desired profit for the year, 140,000. This is just an estimate. Budgeted expenses, 35, also an estimate. Don't spend too much time on that. It's just a guess. Average commission rate, average sale price, 425. And so what this tells you is your desired profit at 140 minus your expenses, revenue needed is 175, right? So 175, 2.5%, that's 7 million in closed volume needed. And now 7 million divided by 425,000, you need 17 deals. It does all this math for you. So if you didn't follow that, that's fine. All you need to fill out is what you want to make this year, what you expect your expenses to be, what the average commission is, and what your average sales price is. And it will spit out what you need to close this year to hit your goal, which is super cool. So I wish I had been more prepared and I had led with that, but that's how you're going to fill this out. Why is this goal important to you? What will it bring you, allow you to, or allow you to accomplish? That's important. It sounds cheesy, but it's important. It reminds you to stay focused. Like, this isn't some arbitrary goal. It's not like, you're not just doing this to get rich, right? You're doing this to have the life that you want. That's why we're all in this business. If you do not hit this goal, who will suffer? What will be sacrificed? What drives and motivates you? How will your goal fill the 6 human needs below? Oh my gosh, I can't see. Stability, variety, significance, connection, growth, contribution. If any portion of this, guys, is not like, doesn't speak to you, you're like, I don't need that to be motivated, you don't have to fill this all out. Again, this is for you and your business, but these are just some talking points to think about. Okay, I'm going to hop over back to the other spreadsheet again. Okay, so this is going back to the one business solution. So we now know we have to do 17 deals, right? Got a little tickle in my throat. Okay, I was playing around with this spreadsheet and I did stuff wrong, so bear with me here. So this is just setting a goal. Okay, so this is we already know that we want to hit 17 transactions. So let's try and speculate where we want those transactions to come from, and where we think it's it's possible that they'll come from, right? So let's say my goal is 7 listings and 10 buyers. Okay, so again, we're only filling out the yellow. We're not filling out the white. So I expect 2 past clients to sell and 2 sphere of influence and whatever else. I'm just spitballing here. 1, 1, 1. Trying to make this all copacetic. Okay, there we go. That's how you're supposed to fill this out, is my point. You can fill it out however you want. But this is, the idea is it kind of makes you, the idea here is we know that we want 17 closings, and now we're going to hone in on where we want those closings to come from, which is easier said than done, right? You can't predict the future, but but this is a good opportunity to say, you know what, I hate calling for sale by owners. I don't want to do that. That's not why I got in the business. Okay, perfect. We're going to put 0 there. We're not going to focus on that this year. I'm interested in calling expired listings. Okay, perfect. I'm interested in open houses. Perfect. Put that here. But this helps you kind of think about where your leads are going to come. So then we can talk about, then further on in the spreadsheet, you can see what you have to do to focus on getting those closings. And again, if you're confused by the spreadsheet, they have instructions here. And of course you can talk to me. Okay, so now it takes what you put here, you put 7 listings and where those listings are coming from, and it automatically inputs over here. You've got 6 coming from your network and 1 coming from expired, and nothing else was coming from the other ones, just the way I filled out that spreadsheet. Okay, this spreadsheet can be a little confusing, so bear with me here. So what this says is so we have 6 closings up here, right? That auto input. Now we're going to say what percentage oh my gosh, I'm messing this up, guys. Bear with me. Okay, this is listing conversion rate. So what percentage of your sphere are you going to be able to?
Isaac, can you zoom in on your screen, please? It's pretty hard to see.
Yes. Spreadsheet's pretty massive, so it.
Awesome,
Better,
thank
Robin?
you. Much better.
Okay, so this is where you want to put a percentage, okay? The percentage, they have little metrics here. They're saying these are a newer or average agent, above average agent, a master agent. And these are just suggestions on what you might see from sale percentage, your conversion rate, your appointments completed, your appointments scheduled, and your conversations. So you start at the bottom with how many conversations you're going to have. Let's say 50. I don't feel like that should be a percent. Now I'm getting all messed up. Give me just 1 second, guys. Okay, I figured it out. If you need to have, if you're going to have, so your goal is to to have conversations that make appointments. Your goal at the appointments, after scheduling an appointment, is to complete an appointment. Your completed appointment is converted to a buyer that you're going to be working with or a listing. Well, in this case, we're looking at the listings. And then the sales percentage is how of your listings, how many will you close once they go active. These numbers down here are just examples of what a newer or average agent can expect, what an above average agent can expect, and a mastery agent can expect. That's just in case you're struggling filling this in. All you have to fill in is how many of your conversations, how many can you get to an appointment? How many can you get, how many can you schedule appointments with? How many can you actually get and complete that appointment? How many can you convert into a listing? And then how many listings can you convert into a sale? Sorry, that took me so long to figure that out. And so with those percentages, it breaks it down into how many listings you need to take, how many appointments you need to complete, how many conversations you actually need to have in order to hit your goal of 6 closings from your network. So going back to the previous spreadsheet, if you had something in FSBOs, it would have this open, but because we don't have anything in FSBOs, it won't let you input anything here. Gosh, sorry, that was such a struggle. So again, here you just want to, how many appointments do you need to schedule to actually get an appointment? How many appointments do you have to have in order to get a listing? How many listings do you have to have, or what percentage to close the deal? And that's all you're putting in here. And then the same thing for buyers. So again, it's taking these from the previous, spreadsheet number 2, where I put these arbitrarily, but they won't be arbitrary for you. And then you spit out the percentages that you think are achievable for you. And then it spits out, again, going back to this one, how many calls you have to make, how many attempts you have to make, how many conversations you need to have, how many appointments you need to schedule in order to take 9 listings in order to have your goal. Man, that was a handful for me.
You did it though. You made it through.
I know, I got it. Okay, power question. What are 5 things you will do to increase your revenue in 2021? Base the answers of these 5 questions based off of this, how you filled out this spreadsheet, right? If you are going to really be focusing on open houses, that should be over here in this, in the 5 power questions. If the vast majority of your business, you plan on coming from your sphere, what's one thing you're going to do, or 5 things you're going to do to really focus on that? So we have numbers now. We know how many phone calls we have to make in order to get our goal, but what are you committing to, right? How are you committing to, that? Because if you just have a number and you don't have a plan of how to get there, then you're not going to do it. So 5 things to keep/enhance my existing business. Kind of along the same lines, but what are 5 things you can do on top of what you're already doing to enhance your business? This is 5 things to generate referrals, 5 things to improve my quality of service. These are, and you may not have 5 things, right? These are supposed to be thought-provoking questions to help you improve. 5 people and how I will incorporate them into the success of my business. If you had more money, more time, assistant, etc., could you achieve your goal? Again, thought-provoking. How can you get this? What is your greatest strength? What makes you unique? Oops. How are you using that in your business? What do you need the most help with? What resources do you have for this? People and things. What 3 skill sets do you want to focus on adding or improving in 2021? What resources will you use to get these? Podcasts, videos, books, seminars, mentors, etc. What do you need the most help with? And then what are your weekly fundamentals, your personal and your professional? These are your must-dos. I really encourage you to, whether it's me or anybody else, maybe find a partner to go through these with. So maybe write down your thoughts, and then reach out to, maybe it's someone who's not a real estate agent in our office. Maybe it's not someone, maybe it's not a real estate agent, or maybe it is someone in our office or a lender you work with or anything, but sit down and then go through these. And hopefully it's someone who can challenge you a little bit, not necessarily someone who's just going to tell you the easy answer and what you want to hear. But I really encourage you to at a minimum, just go through these questions and just scribble down your thoughts. Even if you're not going to share it with anyone, you'll be surprised the clarity that comes from it. Okay, now we have so much information now, right? So we know how many calls we need to make to hit our goals. We know what our goal is. We know how many transactions we need to hit our goal, etc. So now we're going to break those up into quarters. And your goals / your tasks, right? We already talked about that. If you have the goal of 17 closings this year, what do you have to do to get that? And that was the amount of calls or the amount of face-to-face meetings, etc. So now break that into quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, quarter 4. This is so important. So many people at the beginning of the year write down their goals and then they scan it maybe, or they put it in a drawer and they don't look at it until next year and are like, oh, I kind of did okay. This is something that you want to split up your goals into quarters. And I even do months, so you can see how you're doing and see what you need to improve on as the year goes on. I really, really encourage you to think about that.
I think it's also important to sort of keep in mind when you're setting those goals, like, okay, quarter 3, are you going to be going on vacation with your family? It would be realistic to make that goal a little bit lower. And so you might adjust your quarter 2 goal to be a little bit higher or something.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, so to achieve your goal, again, this is more personal, and this is just for you to do on your own time, but what health habits are needed? What poor habits do you want to stop this year?
I think for real estate brokers too, that can be super helpful, just because, when you're out showing homes or something, a lot of brokers don't take care of themselves. So a bad health habit would be, in between showing homes, stopping at 7-Eleven and grabbing a hot dog for dinner. Like, you can set yourself up for success by planning on eating healthier at your showings and buying bags of pirate booty or, something else, and keeping that in your trunk instead.
Is pirate booty that much better than hot dogs?
It honestly isn't, but it was the first shelf stable food that came to my mind.
Oh, it's the thought that counts. The thought was correct.
Thanks, guys.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so these last few pages are a summary because, again, going back to everything that we've already gone through, you're not going to have a big booklet of your goals in your pocket, but maybe consider printing out these last few pages and having these in your bag or in your purse or in your pocket at all time. This is your summary. So so this is where you repeat everything. What is your goal? What is your mission statement? Might sound cheesy, but this is where you kind of talk about why is this my goal, right? Why do I do what I do? Why did I get into real estate? Some people would also call your mission statement your elevator pitch, right? Has everyone heard that phrase where you should have an elevator pitch, which is when somebody asks, hey, how's it going? Or how's your day going? Or whatever. Most people just say, fine, how about you? Right? That's a horrible missed opportunity, because that's your opportunity to give them your elevator pitch, where you say, great day. I've been working with some buyers. I'm going to show them a home tonight, and I'm going to help my seller move after, because they just sold their home. Bam. Now they know you're a real estate agent. That was a horrible elevator pitch, by the way. But now they know you're a real estate agent. And that's the point. We're not a secret agent. And so that's maybe not a mission statement, but that's something you might consider putting here. Daily rocks. People are more inclined to embrace and own a rock than a goal or task. Rocks are less intimidating. List your rocks that you must accomplish to meet your fundamental goals. These are daily things that you want to, that are non-negotiable. Okay. And maybe you have this be just for work days. Maybe it's not counting weekends, however you want to do this. And maybe it's not 6 things, but what are 1 to 6 things that you 100% commit? I will do this every single day that I work. whatever it is. What are those things? And you can also throw in your health goals, right? I'm going to drink a gallon of water a day, whatever. But the point of the summary sheet is getting rid of all the other information that we've already gone through and putting it to the side and having just a hot sheet that you can look at and be like, oh yeah, that's right, get centered. And then what is your skill set of focus? For example, if you've been working with a lot of buyers and it takes up a lot of time, and maybe this year you really want to get unbelievable at being a listing agent, maybe put that here and then put a subheader there to say, I'm going to be the best at presenting at pre-listing presentations, right? That's just an example. So what is one thing that you really want to be your focus as far as skill set goes? And something that you don't maybe have right now. This is not something that you're really good at right now, but you want to, by the end of the year, be like, yeah, that was my goal going into the year. And now, maybe I fell a little short, but I focus on that skill set. Your circle of greatness. This is your sphere of influence. Those who inspire, encourage, and bring out the greatness in you. This is something that can change as the year goes on, but it's a good reminder to focus on the 5 people who you want, in my opinion, the 5 people who you want to emulate, or maybe they're mentors, maybe they're people who refer people to you, but it's good to remember those people and keep that front of mind.
Maybe they're Isaac.
Maybe. And then notes are final notes. This can be anything. This is your sheet. This can change throughout the year. You can reprint out this sheet too. And this is just a lot of fluff from Realty One Group. They're really good at fluffing their tails. But Realty One Group is a pretty great company. But I'm not gonna go through all this, right, Robin? About us, core values. This is all good information to know, especially because if somebody looks up your company, they're going to see all this online. But that's the gist of it, guys. I went through that really fast, and I really butchered that second spreadsheet. Again, the spreadsheets are so helpful. So I really encourage you to try and figure them out. Craig Benson had a meeting about this not too long ago, but about taking your goals and converting that into actionable steps that you need to take every single day. That's what that spreadsheet is. If you've worked with Craig or if you haven't seen that video, go back and watch that video. Craig has a very similar way of doing that. He calls it the greatness tracker, and it works too. There's all different kinds of ways of doing it. So if you don't like the spreadsheet method, that's fine. Ultimately, just take your goal and decide how many of X you have to do every single working day. Not if you're taking weekends off, that's fine, but every single working day in order to get your goal. Because if you just say, I'm going to have 17 closings, you won't have 17 closings. I can promise you. That's really the gist of it. Robin, anything to add?
No, keep in mind, you guys, that I am a new agent myself. So I will probably be trying to set my own goals. If you have any questions or you want to brainstorm with me, just set up a time and we can chat.
Yeah, I really encourage you to try and find a partner to talk this through with, right?
Accountability buddies.
What was that?
Accountability buddies.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, thanks for joining, Craig.
Yeah, I mean, again, I did a very similar video with everybody a couple weeks ago. But the biggest thing is just
not sent out, so check for that today.
Cool. And I also sent over a bunch of the documents I kind of went over and just examples for like listing presentations and stuff like that for you guys to take a peek through as you're building yours out. So please utilize those tools. The biggest thing, guys, is you really need to track everything that you're doing, because that is how you're going to be able to scale and double your business the next year and everything like that. But you need to start tracking right now. That is how you're able to scale these businesses. For example, my team, we did 70 million in fundings last year. And this year we set the goal of doing 140 million. And we ended up doing just shy of 168 million. So, and it's just from, we took, okay, this is what we did last year. Here are our numbers. So what do we need to do to double this? And that's where it came from, you guys. It's just knowing those numbers made it scalable all the way through. So it's really, it's where you take your business from being a real estate agent into I'm running a business all the way through, you guys. And I'm huge on accountability. If anybody needs an accountability partner, if we want to start like an accountability group with everybody, I am more than happy to be a part of that. And any questions you guys have, you guys want to throw your business plans at me, I would absolutely love to go through it with you guys too.
Awesome. Thank you, Craig.
That's really a great tip that, yeah, that shouldn't be lost on anyone. The tracking is not for right now. It's for next year. That's why you're tracking, so that next year you can become even greater. That first spreadsheet is so important. The one where it's like, how much business did you miss out on? And oh my gosh, how much money could I have made this year? That's really important to be honest with you and that with yourself. And that's why it's so important to track and just write down when you miss an opportunity. Okay, I missed this opportunity. How can I not miss it next time? So
I think the easiest way. Oh, sorry.
It's okay. I was just going to say also, if you're brand new, it's still valuable to do this, even if you don't have anything to fill in for past transactions. You can even just play with the numbers and pretend like you had a couple of transactions just to see what it would look like. And that'll really get you motivated.
That's great advice.
I think the best way, if you're having trouble staying on track with your tracking, start time blocking. When you time block, it gives you a set time to work towards your goals. I think, some of the beauty of being in real estate is the flexibility of your time. You get to go out and do whatever needs to get done, but don't shift your priorities to the side to make room for what's happening right now. You owe it to yourself to set aside time to work for your goals. And if you're working towards that goal, I don't think you're ever going to have that feeling of failure. I think the feeling of doubt and like you're going to mess it up happens when you're shifting those priorities to the side and not giving yourself that time.
Awesome. All right, guys. Thanks everyone for joining. Feel free to reach out anytime. See you tomorrow. Robin has a great class tomorrow. So
see you guys tomorrow at 1 o'clock to go over all of our Realty One Group tech and tools.